question to the protesters was, the United States, it exists for one purpose, and that purpose is the creation and perpetuation of white male merchant kings at the expense of everything else. That's what it does, that's what its laws are. In that environment, what difference do you expect to make? And the brilliant woman with whom I was chatting said that they had made a difference, that they had done some activist work in Spain, and lives were saved as a result. And as she said that, I remembered a documentary, and I will link to the documentary in the description of this, where the United States facilitated the overthrow of the democratically elected president of Chile and installed a fascist dictator named Pinochet, and funded and facilitated Pinochet's horrible abuse of the people of Chile by giving him, either directly, freely, or at radical discount, or some kind of resource barter, weapons of war, including British-made jets, which used Rolls-Royce engines.
Han pasado 40 años, pareciera ser mucho tiempo. Si uno lo mira como historia, es casi ayer.
Nunca nos imaginamos que iba a ser tan cruel.
One of the most curious actions is currently taking place in Scotland, where Rolls-Royce workers are letting the engines of Chilean hawker hunters rust in the back of the factory.
It was a moral stand that was taken.
I couldn't support or do anything that would help that type of government.
I'm Bob Fulton, yes.
Don't you start with any war stories. Don't start with the war stories. Just a minute. We're going home before 8 o'clock.
When I was a kid, we used to go to Solidarity Night, and I remember in Scotland, they always mention the hawker hunters stuck in a factory because of a workers' action. The idea to me that somebody had managed to defeat those planes, that was incredible. I just want to know what's true.
That's what I believed in. Dictatorship was a red flag to a bull with me.
Nadie conoce esa historia. Hay que buscar las personas que intervinieron ahí.
Jamás escuché la palabra derechos humanos.
Comentábamos muchas veces que somos seres olvidados del mundo.
I honor these people with my highest honor, because this is the most beautiful nonviolent protest. The question, can we protest against GKN and stop the manufacturing of the canopies of the F-35 such that Israel can't rebuild them when they eventually wear out, such that those particular jets can't be used to commit war crimes and genocide against the Palestinian people? I think there's a real chance that's possible. And if we can make a difference as civilians by protesting to the city and saying, not in my backyard, not on my watch, you're not creating weapons to abuse other people on my watch, in my backyard, I think that's a worthy cause. I think it's worthy enough that I'm shouting it out on my vlog. I think it's why Universe brought me to that city council meeting that didn't happen, to the protest that did happen, so that I could say these things, so that you could find out about them. I love the people who do these things. They're my brothers and sisters. They're advocating for peace. They're advocating for a better life for everyone. And how can I not help that cause? That's one of the things I wanted to talk about. But I'm weird. My Afghan and Mexican neighbors they made children. And I interact with the children because I live here. And one of the little girls said to me last night, "John, are you crazy?" And the question just filled me with delight. I just love it. And I said, "Well, maybe a little bit." And she's like, "No, John, I think you're a lot crazy." Oh, how delightful is that? She just said it, and I love her for it. To quote John Nash, the mathematician off of whom the movie A Beautiful Mind is based, sanity is a form of conformity. I do not conform. So yes, Aksa, I'm a little crazy. Maybe I'm a lot crazy. And we're gonna go there because what I'm looking for, what I'm experiencing, is not something that I've seen a lot of. I'm looking into teleportation. I think it's real. I think we can do it without tools. And there are people in the past who have done it. And I'm slowly unlocking the mechanism of it. This is, again, as I go into this, some of the things I say are facts and you can research them, like arbitrary, independent reality facts, intrinsic, whether you believe in them or not. Some of the things I say are theories that I have not fully proven or disproven. This is in the latter category. I don't know that this is real. When I can teleport, I will tell you what's real and what's not from my experience. This is just my operating theory that I'm leaning into experimentally. What I think, now this is a fact. I had a mentor named Wanote. His real name was John Cofield. He was a Catholic Monsignor. And I found him because I asked the wisest person I knew who the wisest person they knew was, and they led me to Wanote. And I met Wanote one morning after he was finishing his Mass service, and I said to him, "I need a spiritual mentor. Are you willing?" And he said yes. During one of our meetings, many of them were absolutely paradigm shifting and are fundamental to who I have become. Wanote was not a perfect man. Yes, that's what I'm talking about, the Catholic priest stuff. I didn't know that at the time. I do know that now. Doesn't change the fact that he was profoundly influential on my experience. I have to hold both of those realities because that's the reality I live in. Just like Paul the Apostle wasn't just a great evangelist, he was also someone who had murdered Christians, had persecuted and imprisoned Christians in the past. And I don't mean Christians today. I mean like legit followers of the path of Jesus. Wanote told me that he went to Spain and he met a priest who had bilocation. He experienced the priest's bilocation. Bilocation is when someone is at two places at the same time. What that state of consciousness is like, I don't know. I'm hoping to share that with you if that is something that I get to experience on this journey. But what he said was that when the priest was in two locations at once and you were near him, you smelled cigar smoke. I don't know what that means. Some part of me said maybe it's like some kind of incense burning on the altar of the temple of God. I know all of those are mental constructs of what's happening. And I also know that not all cigars smell the same. Some of them smell like dirty underwear. Some of them smell like flowers. So what kind of cigar, I don't know. But it was something he immediately identified as cigar smoke. That's not the important point. The point is he met someone who had bilocation. And Wanote was, to say that he was a rationalist, to say that he was skeptical, was that he was that. He was not someone given to flights of fancy. He was very pragmatic in his belief. To the point where he told me a story. He said, we were talking about the book of Genesis and the story of Sodom and Gomorrah being destroyed by fire. And he's like, it's an allegory. It didn't happen. That's the kind of mind he had. Now, I happened to meet someone who actually was an archaeologist and discovered Sodom and Gomorrah. That's another story for another time. But that's where Wanote's mind is. So when he said he met someone with bilocation, I didn't dismiss him. I listened to him. I bring that up because I think it's a part of what teleportation is. at least the way I'm exploring it, as an intellectual, as a mystic, as someone who is raised in the scientific method, and I'm trying to create a unity between spirituality and practical science. I think that bilocation is a critical factor in teleportation. I think astral projection is a kind of like a lower entry tier level possibility for bilocation. I think some part of me is actually traveling to the place that I'm projecting to. Now, my experience has very low resolution. I can see a place kind of, but what most people say when they say imagination, my imagination is a factor. It's building things that don't coincide with reality, but there is also some things that I do know that I shouldn't know unless I had actually been to that place at that time that I'm experiencing. And I don't know how to increase the resolution without practice. So I'm going to continue practicing astral projection. I think that as my resolution increases, take that as point one. Part two is that this body is a manifestation of my energetic state willing something into being. Free will, astral projection, energy. Yeah, it's all coming together, people. This is one vlog broken up into parts for this week. If my body is energy resonating into material form, created by my consciousness, my awareness, not consciousness. Consciousness for me is brain. This is beyond brain. There's no reason that I shouldn't be able to appear in another place just as solidly. But what the path seems to be indicating to me is that for me to astral project, my resolution needs to increase such that that reality becomes as real as this reality. That location becomes as real and present to me as this location appears to be in my body. When that happens, I think I will have bilocation. And when that happens, there's no reason that I have to solidify in one place or another. I can solidify in either place. I can localize my consciousness in either place. So the path that I'm currently exploring in order to accurately teleport, in order to better understand the nature of the universe, is to increase the resolution of my experience, increase the fidelity of the resolution of my experience of astral projection, such that bilocation becomes possible and then teleportation becomes possible. My wife said, "John, if you do this, hopefully you don't teleport naked. You should remember to bring your clothes." And I thought that was hilarious. My wife is very practical, and I love her for it. And yeah, that wasn't a concern that occurred to me, but thanks for bringing that up, Mammy. So I have been practicing astral projection. I have been practicing forgetting my body, which seems to start with putting it to sleep. And I've found some useful meditations on that. I don't know that these meditations are safe for public consumption yet, otherwise I would share them. But as I continue to explore them, I will share what I find to be safe and practical. That's what's been on my mind. Should I change the "you'll see me next week" to "you'll see me tomorrow"? I don't know. Maybe I'll just break it up abruptly, because why not? This whole thing, as I watch other YouTubers, I see that the ones who succeed, they just wing it. They just do their thing. Markiplier has done some amazing stuff with it, but he also says, "I'm going to make a long video reviewing and comparing candies of Southeast Asia," and that's hilarious. Or MRE meals, and I find those fascinating. He does it, he edits it in a short form YouTube way that's kind of attention crack, and I'm not a fan of that, but I love that he explored. We're just exploring, and eventually I'm going to find something that is an expression of me that coincides with what the YouTube algorithm wants to promote, and what you want to watch. And when that happens...
Well, that'll be an interesting day.
Also taken out of context, another favorite quote of mine from The Matrix.
I gotta tell you, I'm fairly excited to see what you're capable of. If Morpheus is right and all. We're not supposed to talk about this. But if you are, it's a very exciting time.
Oh, exciting times. That's where we live. This is reality. It's much bigger than we've been told. It's much more beautiful than we've been told. It's much more wonderful than media tries to convince us. That's what I'm on here to share. What's your version look like? What do you find useful in these vlogs? Let me know. Maybe I'll talk about your comment and integrate it in how I feel about it. Because I read the comments. Some say you're not supposed to, but we're just dialoguing here. And no trolls have shown up yet, so cool. This vlog is the longest vlog I've ever made. It's 58 minutes unedited, but I'm going to edit it down. I don't know how many episodes it'll be. Each one will be longer than 10 minutes, though. There seems to be a nice break between them, but who knows if that'll coincide with the time break, which is my evaluating criteria. Maybe in 5 vlogs, maybe in 4 or 3, maybe in 1. Somewhere between 12 and 20 minutes long. But you will see me next week.